Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another day of IPL 5 action. I am Jarasar here with my good friend Frodan, and we have a pretty exciting best of 3 in the Losers 7.
That's right, guys. It's going to be Creator Prime versus Startail Bomber. It's really cool to see these two face off, but it's so surprising to see them in the losers bracket. I mean, these guys they've been doing really well in their respective tournaments. Bomber made a ridiculous run at MLG. Creator, of course, the runner-up of WCS, the winner of WCS Korea. Sorry, runner-up of BWC.
Yep.
And I mean, this guy is really known for his Protoss versus Terran, taking out Tasia on his way to moving up. But then, I mean, he's now here in the losers bracket.
It's absolutely insane. I mean, in the upper bracket, we saw not only Tasia get taken out by Creator, but Hyun as well, who's in his GSL final. Potential to be another Royal Roader there. So he's done incredibly well, but getting knocked down, I believe, by Pult into the lower bracket where he's going to be facing Bomber. Bomber was knocked down early by the STC, 2-1 in a very close series into the lower bracket, but he's made a barnstorming run, like you said, Dan, and one of these guys is going to have to bow to the tournament now.
That's right, losers round 7 should mean top 12, but of course you guys can check out all of the brackets at IGN.com, and you can also check out the mainstream that I believe is, do you know the match?
I don't know, because they all switched them around. It might be the Dongray Goo game, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the Violet game, I believe. Or so it was Hero versus Sniper. There it is, yeah. That should be on stream at number 1.
Yeah,
so
do check that out as well. But for now, guys, we're going to go hop into this game. Game number 1 is going to be on Cloud Kingdom. And spawning over here in the bottom left spawning position as the blue Terran player. Ladies and gentlemen, representing Team Startail, we have Bomber, who's going to be facing off against the red Protoss in the top right-hand corner. We have Creator Prime.
That's right, Creator playing under the name Barrel. We'll make sure to get Starboard fixed as soon as possible. Guys, it is Cloud Kingdom, a map where, well, most styles are possible or are viable on this map, I believe. You know, Protoss can do whatever they want. They can stay on 2 base and go for high tech, high upgrades, which is something that Creator loves doing. Likes going, 3-gate Robo into Double Forge into Colossus base play. I mean, that's very stable. That's what he likes to do. Meanwhile, Bomber, he's a guy that, well, likes putting on early pressure, even leaning over towards more Marines. Bomber was one of the first guys really to popularize going double reactor on barracks when you go for 3 racks. Sure. A lot of people used to go double tech labs, go for double upgrades, but then Bomber was like saying, well, why don't we just squeeze out more so that way we have more units to pressure.
And that really suits his style. I mean, like you said, he's a big fan of this early aggression, and we actually see a gas first coming out of him. So we could be seeing some very, very early aggression indeed, and that would really tie in with his style. Bomber, of course, also towards the late game loves going for those double upgrades as well, Frodan. So we could be seeing, if this game drags on like pretty long, we're going to be seeing a very, very heavily upgraded army.
Yeah, well, we'll see how things go. Most Terrans, of course, do like to go for double engineering bay, eventually 4-2-2, after they get maybe +1 with their factory, and then they get +1 armor. So, gas before barracks. I mean, that's almost like 100% going to be a factory. It's only a question of, is he going to go into quick Hellions and then drop them? Is he going to go for a second gas and go for Banshees and go for Cloak? Maybe he just goes for a Banshee expand. These are all possibilities. Bomber can just straight up 1-1-1. And, Creator Prime, he's a guy that really likes playing heavy macro. 1-gate expand is usually his MO.
Yep.
And, depending on how Creator reacts to, especially if he plays Double Forge and plays Greedy, I mean, Bomber might be able to pick something off there.
Yeah, 1-1-1 would be completely in line with Bomber's style here. Let's see if the Pro can actually get any purchase. Of course, Bomber, with that gas first, means he can get that 100 gas down for the factory as soon as the barracks completes. That's going to be pretty crucial. Their Creator just going to be checking for an expansion, sees that nothing is there, and is he thinking about sneaking a pylon in here before going for a scout, or is he just waiting a little while? I think it might be a pylon in a bit.
I think he just wants to also peer in to see if the command center is there, because around 4:45, Terran really should be either motioning to clear out the natural or moving or just going down and expanding on the low ground. And then, keeping it there, he can move in, scout the top of the ramp if he ever feels like it. But realistically, he just has to keep poking back and forth. Now, he is going to expand because either way, you want to go for 2 Nexi really quickly, so that way you can squeeze out good units and good tech if you can get 2, 3, 4 gases. But we'll see how Creator chooses to respond, because it looks like Bomber is going to go for, well, some reactor Hellion play.
Oh, very nice trap there of the probe, and Bomber preventing Creator from getting into scouting. You're absolutely dead on the money there. Of course, the problem the Creator faces is that if he left his probe there for too long, a lot of Terrans do actually scout behind the mineral line there just to make sure that there's nothing there. So if he got any scouting information, he'd want to get it sooner rather than later, trying to go up the ramp, failing to do so at the moment. And then after expanding now on the other side of the map, we see Creator going for his second and third gates as the Hellions move across the field.
That's the good move there, because if you go for Robo, you're just teching, you don't have enough units, and how are you supposed to deal with just the raw amount of Hellions? There's 4 Hellions, and you have, what, like 2 Stalkers and a Sentry and a Zealot. You're not going to catch them at all. Bomber's doing the right thing, too, of initially poking up and forcing the Sentry energy. This is really smart, and then he can just utilize the other 2 medevacs. Oh, you know, Creator did some pretty good damage there. Really weakening one of the Hellions, but still, there's 2 more and a medevac on the way.
Yeah, it's a decent micro coming out from both sides there. Good force field coming down from Creator, but once the medevac gets out on the field, Bomber will have the option of dropping directly into the main base, and that's something Creator has to be very wary of, especially since he's currently warping in his units, Frodan, and, like, gathering them at the front of his natural, so hopefully he doesn't leave his main base too exposed.
Well, this is the trouble, right? Because you can't cover both areas very efficiently, because Bomber's just going to run 2 Hellions by and then drop into the main. The probe is moving out across the map, but missed force fields from Creator. Does manage to deal with one of the Hellions, but that's just going to make it harder to deal with the other 4.
And here we go, 4 Hellions into the mineral line. It is a probe barbecue, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of workers going down here. We do actually have units from Creator getting back in reasonable time. Bomber trying his best to pick apart a few more probes on the gas line there. Unable to do so, and only saving a single Hellion. If we take a quick look at the workers' kill tab, 4. Not too bad, but not great either. I think Bomber really wanted more out of that.
No, that was not effective at all. He had 6 Hellions, he lost 5, and he killed 4 probes. The Creator held beautifully.
Yeah, the minerals lost for Bomber just wasn't really worth that. The number of probes that he got there. I mean, it was great that he got up past the natural expansion, actually, but then he didn't get those kills fast enough. We saw a couple of shots there against the Stalkers as well, when he might have been able to get some more probe kills. And
Bomber's expansion is pretty behind. Creator's in firm control. He's only dropping 1 Forge. I guess he just wants to scale back his greed a little bit. You know what was so impressive with Creator's defense is that he didn't really sim city around this area either. You know, normally when Protosses feel like they're sensing some one-base play, they also tuck some of their stuff a little bit farther back, not only just because of you know, Hellion SimCity, but because, you know, tanks can push really easily into the base. So you put the buildings a little bit further back. But you know what? He just did it with good unit positioning. He ran his probes away in a very nice spot, streamlined them in this really tight corridor area. And overall, it was ineffective for Bomber. So now Bomber has to play from behind. He's delayed everything. Delayed his biotech, delayed production, delayed his expansion. And we'll see if Bomber's going to be able to drag himself. Delayed production, delayed his expansion.
And it looks like we actually have Stim almost done right now for Bomber there. It looks like we'll see what he ends up doing with that once that pops up. A little bit of an audio issue on our end there, but promptly rectified. And we have an observer actually from Creator in a really good spot to see when Bomber is moving out. And like you mentioned, Frodan, he's a little bit delayed at the moment, so he might be looking to do for some go for some aggression, especially with these 2 dropships here. And then all of a sudden, I mean, look at this. Creator should be completely prepared.
Well, Creator is going to target down one of the medevacs, but, you know, there's enough stem to bio here that's going to really be able to take out the Stalkers. Look at that, even dropping a Hellion, too, reincorporating back into his composition. Bomber shouldn't be able to do too much damage, though, because just look, he doesn't have a lot of power behind this push, or this drop, rather.
Yep.
And Creator Prime is able to deal with it very easily, and he didn't even have his upgrade. You know, he's going for Robo Twilight, which is a very common upgrade. You know, you go either weapons and charge or armor and blink. And he doesn't even have either of those, but he's still able to hold it. He is so far ahead despite what the supply counts say.
Bomber did a great job of focusing down with the last couple of Marauders there, a sentry or 2 as well. When he realized he was going to lose that fight, he just wanted to get that energy off. Great job there. 3rd medevac coming in. Also, I wanted to point out when those Stalkers started hitting the medevac, Bomber was forced to fly one of them away so that he didn't lose them, and there were 2 Marauders in there for the first half of the fight as well. But he has another drop coming down here at the 3rd. Is it going to get cancelled? Yes, it does. Good reactions there from Creator.
You know, Bomber is going to expand here to the middle left, which means he wants to start putting lots of direct pressure into this 3rd area because, you know, you can rally over here. You don't necessarily have to spread yourself thin of covering on the right side. And it's just a more aggressive posture, right? And so I feel like Bomber still wants to utilize his multitasking and drop everywhere. You can see he's doing a good job. If he let that 3rd go up, he would have fallen super far behind. But instead, now he's still fighting there. You know, he's not, if he can get this third orbital command and, you know, not fall too behind in his macro, which he really shouldn't, because Bomber is one of the sickest mechanical Terrans. I think Bomber can still climb into this.
Yeah, an additional scout coming out of there from Creator, and I want to echo what you said there. That interesting. Oh, but hang on a second. We have got a double drop going on into the main. Creator once again has a couple of units here, but didn't pull the rest of them back this time. The first Colossus is now out though. Really nice pull on the probes to try and stop this drop from doing too much damage, and Bomber is forced to lift. Minimal damage done to Creator. That was really good management there.
Yeah, and you know, well, you know, he has minimized most of his damage, but you know, Bomber at the same time, he's not being effective. He's exactly. You know, the fact that he's trying to do damage here, and if his drop just kind of equalizes, then you know, Creator still maintains his lead, because look at it. I mean, all Bomber has in his upgrades is stim, combat shields, and a +1, or maybe a concussive shell. That's not really strong integrity to fight against like a Colossus Zealot Sentry army that has charge, that has +1/+1, that has thermal lance on the way, and blink stalkers if he needs to reinforce. I mean, Bomber's macroing very well, and I mean, sneaking this third base in while being able to feign pressure is really nice. But he still has a few more steps in order to make up his deficit.
That's an interesting point you make there, actually, Frodan, because Bomber at this point doesn't actually have concussive shell. So it'd be nice just to get that little bit of a boost in his army, considering it is reasonably Marauder heavy, I mean. So it would be a useful addition there. But notice where his army is right now. Because of where Bomber's taken his third, he can position his army between where he's taken his third and sort of where Creator wants to take his fourth. And that gives him a much shorter counter-attacking route if he sees Creator try to come around and flank.
Well, we'll see if that comes into play. For now, Creator is he's adding Immortals back into his army. You know, he's not going for too many Colossus. That's also another thing. Bomber is kind of behind in the air production. He only has, what, 2 medevacs? 2 medevacs, and that's going to be very punishing to stim more than once in any kind of fight. So, Creator, if he plays his cards right with force fields, can really swing the tides of battle if he can protect his Colossus. Even though Bomber's committed to 6 Vikings, it's not like his bio can sustain the fight for too long.
And the thing is, Creator sees everything that Bomber's doing. Bomber has not done a good job picking off observers this game, Frodan. Creator has just been, he knows where the army is, he knows that Bomber is looking to push, and he is posturing himself, getting ready to engage should Bomber decide to push up the ramp. But on this occasion, Bomber's just going to head home.
No, I think Bomber realizes that he doesn't necessarily have the ideal composition. Again, he's really low on medevacs, which is very difficult unless you have an overwhelming advantage of units, which he knows he doesn't, because Creator's also on top of his macro, considering that Creator's also just really good about his upgrades usually. Now he is going for a Templar Archives, which is around a good time. Usually when you get 6 gases, you can start comfortably getting Templars out. But you know, Bomber's already been preemptive about that and getting ghosts. So
that's right.
I think Bomber's really starting to swing things in his favor, and with EMPs, things can always swing in either direction.
Yep, I think that's a really good point. A couple of good EMPs really can change the tide of battle here, and Bomber did get those 3 ghosts immediately out a long time before the Templar Archives even went down for it. And so if he engages soon, missed EMP there.
Oh, but
there
he landed. That's
very good.
That's really nice, because the Zealots are pretty much the front line, right? They're the tankers.
Yep.
So you know, I guess Creator has to disengage, and Bomber just has a lot of units. His 2-1 has finished. Creator has been trying to get his Templar tech out as soon as possible, but he is pretty heavily supply blocked. 3 pylons. 3 pylons isn't going to be enough.
The second EMP was so good from Bomber, missing the first one but landing the second one beautifully. No Templar out on the field. A massive blink forward to try and pick apart the air, though. The Vikings doing a decent number on the Colossi, and Bomber kiting back so that the Colossus aren't in range. This is a good engagement here for Bomber. Does Creator have enough? His supply is starting to dwindle. Finally, some more Zealots coming in, but there's no meat at the front of this army, Frodan, and Bomber is crashing through.
Oh, Bomber played this beautifully, coming back into the game. GG. And Bomber takes game number 1.